I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Meeting come to order.
Thank you all for coming to the open session of the Four Seasons at Beaumont Association meeting. Next on the agenda are announcements. I have three. First was a pedestrian was hit a couple weeks ago on the street in the evening. So just as a reminder for pedestrians to be aware of your surroundings and for drivers to be aware of pedestrians. If you're walking, please stay on the sidewalk. Please don't walk out in the street. If it's at night or in the early morning, wear reflective items on your clothes, have a flashlight, do things that you can do to be visible. Power outage. So as we all know or should know, there's a threat of a power outage down here in Southern California. Northern California is going through that right now. So that the power companies are doing this to reduce their liability for wildfires. So we've had a few questions about what happens if the power goes out. In people's garages, there's a way to release the latch and move that garage door out, but if you're worried about that, put your car out on the driveway overnight or right now. And then also, if the power goes out, the gates automatically open. There's battery backups in both of the Crooked Creek and the Potrero gates. So if it's 2 in the morning, the gates will be wide open if there's no power, and they'll stay open until there is power. And just as a reminder, the gates are here as a privacy. They're privacy gates. They are not, and we are not a secure fortress or compound. So they will be open. That way people can come in, homeowners and guests, and you can get out. So you're not trapped here and you're not trapped from outside and can't get back to your home. And then my last announcement is to slow down. It's my monthly announcement that speed limit's 30 on the circle, 25 on the side streets, and 15 miles an hour in the lodge parking lot. With that, we'll move to homeowner input. As a reminder, it's limited to 3 minutes per homeowner and only one request to speak form may be submitted per homeowner. There'll be no sharing or passing of time to another person. Homeowner input may be held for a maximum period of 30 minutes before the board meeting begins to allow the board to proceed with the business portion of the meeting. This portion of the meeting is limited to board participation only. Residents are welcome and encouraged to stay for the full meeting to witness the business of the corporation taking place by your governing agents. And I have 3 speaker slips. First speaker is Patrick Garrity.
And feel free.
Good afternoon, Patrick Garrity, 121 Slippery Rock.
Microphone.
I'm representing, that's good.
Good job, Patrick.
I'm representing the dog owners group, and to follow up on what Eric just said, I'm here about the pedestrian being hit. I got reports of 2 different accidents, but actually Eric just informed me that they are the one and the same accident, so that there was one contrary to there being 2. This is my attire that I wear when I'm out walking my dog morning and evening. I also carry a high-intensity flashlight. And I, like many other pedestrians here, have reports a number of times when we've almost been hit as pedestrians. The situation is out of control. I was at the safety committee meeting yesterday, and it was reported that there are stop signs going in at White Sands and Pear Creek. That's great. We need more. We need more control over the traffic here because motorists are not, they're ignoring pedestrians. And I almost was hit twice last week, one at White Sands and one at the Crooked Creek Circle. So I'm here to tell the board this is an emergency and we need to do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Next is Gloria Johnson.
Good morning. I'm just here to address the Conservancy. Lynn wrote 2 articles so far. We're expecting a 3rd article in the Breeze, which is nice. It points out a few things. But as far as really going into any details, It really doesn't. For example, it doesn't point out the responsibilities, the liabilities, the projected costs to the HOA and our dues. And right now, much of the Conservancy presents a fire hazard because of the dead trees, the dead tree limbs, and a lot of dead underbrush. Also, there's a lot of standing water year-round, and that's a perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes and exposing us to the various diseases that they could transmit. The Conservancy with the trails is a great asset to our community, and also it makes it a unique community. But it should not be a liability in regards to fire and health hazards. There are many important questions that need to be answered, and the board should hold, if possible, a town hall meeting prior to turning it over so that we can be informed about the responsibilities, the liabilities, and the costs, and how the agencies will be working with our community regarding safety issues. Also, wonder if KHOF, prior to turning it over, will do any cleanup work in that area. So could you please let us know here today, if possible, if you will be holding a town hall meeting so that we as homeowners can ask questions and you can answer them. Thank you.
There will be a town hall before the end of the year. I need more answers.
Pardon me?
I need more answers before we have a town hall, because I couldn't answer all the questions right now.
Okay. Will you be holding that town hall then prior to us being turned over, or will it be after the fact?
It will be before the fact.
Before the fact. Okay, really appreciate that. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Lori. Our last speaker slip is Lila Bonner.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to voice my concern in reference to the stop sign that was promised for Everest Peak that has not been put up yet. I've heard several different things. It's on hold. It's been approved, but still nothing has happened. I did attend the safety committee this week, and I was told by an opposing resident that they do not feel that the stop sign is needed. It's not about I or you, it's about visibility. When you stop on Everest Peak, there is a stop sign there. However, we have to go beyond that stop sign in order to see who's coming up Stellar Peak. You're supposed to stop behind the stop sign, not in front of the stop sign. There is a little curve that goes around, which makes it kind of difficult to see all the way down that street of Stellar Peak. There's been several times that a car has come down and I was getting ready to turn and we could have had an accident. It's all about safety, which should be definitely a priority, and not about so much of an opinion or your feelings. So what I'm asking the board is to really be able to look at our concern objectively and not, have your feelings so much in it or your thoughts or opinions, but to actually look at this concern as a safety matter. It has not been any accidents yet, but one could happen. You never know. Because some people just won't follow the rules no matter what. And there are signs, yes, of, going at a certain speed or whatever, but a lot of people, or most people, not most, but some people just won't follow that rule. So I'm hoping that the board will really take this seriously and consider this concern objectively. so we can, continue, or at least try to be safe here in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Seeing no other speaker slips, we'll move on to the consent calendar. The purpose of the consent calendar is to make a single motion to approve all included items. If for a particular reason an item needs to be discussed or pulled from the consent calendar, then a call to remove that item should be made by a board member. In the consent calendar, first are the minutes from September 9th and September 12th, a bond release for Phase 179, no CD or investment plan with 2 liens on account 6310-113201 in the amount of $2,032.90, and lien on account 6310-007605 in the amount of $1,280. There's no club or group actions in this consent calendar. There's 3 parties: a private party at the summit on the 13th of this month, a birthday party on October 19th, and a birthday party on December 28th.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, report on executive session, which the board held an executive session this morning. Reviewed delinquencies, reviewed the liens and violations and member hearings, renewed the insurance contract for $79,000 for the year, renewed the All About Cleaning contract for $30,000 per month, reviewed legal issues and personnel issues. Seeing that, we'll move on to the committee reports. First is the ad hoc power out. Randy is not here. Oh, he is here. Yeah. Hey, Randy.
The committee had adjourned a little over a month ago to allow me to go on vacation. So we're starting back up again because I'm back from vacation. At that time, we had identified 30 issues that we wanted to look at and work with through the other committees, individuals, and those reports will be going out in the future. Now, to the important part. Are you all aware of what this is? Yep. This is Edison's map. We don't have a problem right now, but we may have a problem when the winds get a little harder. And this is going to be things that's going to affect both the HOA as an organization and us as individual homeowners. So, be aware of what you got, get your batteries, be prepared. If power goes out, I wouldn't open your refrigerator because you're going to lose all the cold air out of it. Any questions? Thank you.
Randy, could you just tell us the border, what that borders are, what are the...
Did you get the map?
I do, but it looks like it cuts in part of Four Seasons. It looks like, if you look at where it says Four Seasons Circle, a little bit to, well, it's easier on my phone, but a little bit to the right of that is the dot, and it shows how the streets divide, goes down to...
There is no further information from Edison on that.
Because there's some streets that are down here that are out of the area that are
Okay.
right there in Four Seasons.
Yep. I don't have an answer for it. That's Edison's map, and that's what they posted for Beaumont.
Okay.
And that's just the wind corridor coming right through here.
Okay.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Next is the architectural committee. Next is the communications board.
I'm not Lori Larson, but she approves this message.
Well done.
I'm Chris Corbett, and I work with Lori, of course, on the communications board. We currently have 16 members, highly creative members, and we're not looking for any more at the moment. Our November breeze will have the wrap-up of Lynn's article on the Conservancy, and I do believe it will answer some questions that the young lady had earlier. We're always looking for new ideas to interview folks, residents, if you are or know someone who's had an intriguing past or past career, please let us know. We're always looking for new ideas. We're publishing info as quickly as we can on the Copper Kettle Bistro, but know that The Breeze is just a monthly magazine. Takes a while to get that information into print, but you can always go to our website, which has the most current information. We meet twice a month. It's up there for planning and proofing. So that's it.
Thank you, Chris. Next is the Community Plan and Transition Committee.
Good afternoon, Colin Taylor. This is the chart that I planned on using today, but it's been overtaken by events. This is the standard chart. I talk about all the things that we've been working on, and we've been working on, and we've been working on for months and months. People often say to me, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do that? They're clearly unaware of half of the rules and regulations that we have to follow. The city, the county, the state, the federal. So it's very difficult getting anything done. But as of a couple of days ago, we did get some good news. But before I go to that, our next meeting is October 24th, 9 a.m. in Rec Center North Conference Room. You're welcome to attend. Next chapter. You'll be aware that President Trump has attempted to roll back many of the Obama regulations, one of which being the Clean Water Rule. We've now officially found out that the Clean Water Rule is not the law of the land. Now, this has no effect on the Conservancy, but there's a piece of land south of Breckenridge Avenue between the courts and the exit gates that's not in the Conservancy area, but we thought it came under the Clean Water Rule. So we were under the understanding that we couldn't do anything with that land. That turns out to not be true now, so we can do something with that land. Next chart. So it offers a good location, we think, for a dog park. And because KHOV would now be required to landscape it, because of the change in the law, they may be willing to fund a dog park, which is really good news. But obviously, timing-wise, we have to move quickly. So I'm hoping that if there's no cost to the homeowners, the board will be able to move quickly in this case. The land's fairly flat, and there's parking at the courts, it's a short walk away, and also there's a side street, Harvard, which is close by. Initially, we won't put a fob security system in, just because that would take too long to organise. It may not be necessary. If it is, we can look at it in the future. So we'll be submitting a proposal to the board as soon as possible. Next chart. Okay, this is a Google satellite view of where I'm talking about. Of course, there's houses there now. Here's the courts traffic circle. Here's the Breckenridge and the gates that have just been built. We're talking about this strip of land here. Now, if any of you are familiar with it, there's a steep bank here, but as you come down the hill, this area here is fairly flat. So that's quite big enough to have a dog park the size of what we were looking at before, both large dog area and small dog area. So you could park here and this street here. Next chart. That's what it looks like looking down Breckenridge towards the gates here. So you can see it's not flat, but it's not bad either. We'd be looking at a fence in from the sidewalk and a fence here. This is a dry creek. There's only water there after heavy rain, but there'd be a fence here. Next chart. Here's the plan of what we're proposing. It's about 300 feet long, about 30 feet wide. Small dog area, large dog area, and double gates here to get the dogs in and out. And we'd have gates at either end for gardeners. And shade trees here would provide both shade for the people and the dogs, but also any houses overlooking it would basically just see the trees. Next chart. We're off the dog area now. You've heard me talk in previous months about underutilised areas. You can't really see this map, but we've identified 17 potential underutilised areas. Now, I'm sure many of them we won't really use for different rules and regulations and limitations, but it gives you an idea of just how much consideration has been given to it. 17 potential areas, and we'll be reporting on these at a later date. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Next. Next, it was time with EDC.
Unlike Colin the magician, I do not have 17 things to speak about. We'll be discussing at our next meeting, we'll be trying to define the role of people that are CERT trained in the community, hoping that we get them on board with the fact that they take care of their house first, then go take care of their neighbors and the general area around them, and then possibly report to whoever neighborhood watch captain is, or if not that, maybe somebody in the radio club that's around the area. Talking about Randy, I think as emergency preparedness and part of being prepared and maybe not want to go broke because of the cost of spoiled food, as an ex-health inspector, I appreciate the fact that we keep our food good and healthy. And I want to look up some information about generators and maybe possibly see what SCE has for guidelines that we can give out to the people and try to figure out what would help people going forward. Like Colin said, it's very, you can't have solar on your house and then have things wired wrong because they'll really mess you up. So you got to make sure you do it, you do it right, you do it properly, and it's, and there's a cutoff and there's a switch that you can't, things can't cross over and destroy your house electricity when you turn it back on. And we're continuing to try to make our user website more friendly. We got to look at it and make sure it's easier to use and get some things on the useful view and make sure it's easy for you to find them. And as usual, we're looking for new members. And I'd just like to say something. Len and I are both members of PASCOM. It's an association of over 55 communities and CHP, law enforcement, fire, AMR, everybody. And it made me feel real good. Len got up and actually started talking about, people don't realize the restrictions these people are under. Everybody thinks they just go boom, 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 and just make your wishes come true. I mean, Colin would do it if he could, John Horney would do it if he could, but they can't. I mean, you got to realize that all the restrictions you're under, services is another example. So what Len kept saying, there was a gentleman next to him from Solera saying, well, we got to do this for our people, we got to do that for people. And Len kept shaking his head, we don't. If you don't know the law, you're crossing over, and we're not responsible for that anymore. And I'm just proud to say that I'm working for them. Thank you.
Mike, stop the bleed training.
Yeah, that was it was going to be at the 13th. If anybody's on the list, Nellie was going to work it out, and she's in contacting everybody that's there. It wasn't that I didn't want to leave the list out longer. I mean, we had, at the time when we started, we had one nurse in Desert Hospital that was going to do it. And she said, I'm only one person, I got to find some help. Luckily, when I was at a meeting, the guy from EMD spoke up and said, I just got trained and stopped the bleed training. I said, guess what? We can use your help. So I contacted her, and luckily they both live in the desert, and hopefully between the two of them, and maybe if I can get some assistance, we can probably get all 39 people trained that day. And there'll probably be another training to come later on, but we're not trying to restrict it by any means, but the only restriction was the physicality and the amount of people and the attention you get by the time that'll take to do. And it takes about 45 minutes to an hour, but it's fun and it's interesting. God knows I wish we didn't have to do it, but that's the reality of life today. Thanks, Len.
Thanks, Mike. Next is Bruce, for the Facilities Committee.
Good afternoon. The Facility Committee has several proposals to give to the board today. The first one is the tennis courts and the courts facilities. We've had issues with birds landing on the lighting. Facilities Committee is recommending vendor A, Pro Pacific, to install the bird spikes on the lighting fixtures and poles up there. It's similar to what we've done previously down here at our lodge facilities. Also, the Facilities Committee is recommending vendor B, Empire Technology Group, to install the digital watchdog security surveillance system. The HOA will be taking over the Breckenridge gates and cameras will be required at that location. And also, the current analog camera system we use in the community does not provide the resolution and detail or the features that a modern camera system provides, and will be upgrading the lodge cameras to the digital IP type format of cameras. And also the trail gates and the crooked gates will also be upgraded, and the current cameras of the summits and the courts and RCN buildings will be tied into the system to provide the same user experience for the staff. We did have an opportunity to view the system with a demonstration. Four Seasons and Hemet currently use this system, and they were able to hook up online so we could visualize it here, and management could look at it and see if the software was applicable for them. Also, the Facilities Committee has received the roof survey from the AWS consultants, and they have given us a detailed plan of how to resolve our roof issues. And we're planning on moving forward with those recommendations with a little guidance from the board, and we'll be doing that as ASAP. And we're looking for the vendors and bids for those proposals. Facility Committee meets on the second Wednesday of the month at 10 a.m. And we also have several positions open for residents interested in serving their community. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to spend time on two topic points. So you can see the numbers. The numbers are good. Our budget's well within where we want to be at this time of the year through August financials. So I'd like to spend some time on the budget process, which is near and dear to everybody here, the 2020 budget. We are quite engaged right now as a small subcommittee of the Finance Committee putting together the budget. And I'm telling the board now, we're going to give you a base budget, which is what we need to operate and continue the operation as it is right now. You'll know exactly what that will cost us, what the dues will need to be if there's any change. We're also going to provide a second budget, which is what I call the wish list budget. And this is where the committees came in and said these were items that we think would be important to have here and in a various amount. We're going to add them to that base budget, but we'll identify them and you'll see what the impact is of those items. And you'll make a decision. It will cost more to have all those things added into the budget. So you'll make a decision on, yeah, we really would like to have that, or no, we can't afford to have these items, and you go back. So you'll get two budgets there. But tied into all that is the reserve study. We will be getting the reserve study back this week. As a committee, we have concerns that the current reserve study doesn't actually reflect expenses as they are today and the cost. And the reason we believe that right now is based on projects that have come in, that have been reserve items, have come in at higher cost. Now, I can understand a higher cost when we upgrade something and make it better and going to give us more useful life. But we also are finding out some of the items that we're replacing and are set at a certain cost need to be upgraded because of less than quality product that was put in. Example, the roof over the bistro area wasn't put in the way it should have been for that area, and it cost us 50% more than what we had allocated for that. So we're going to be looking at that reserve study and seeing what it is. It's a a critical element in looking at, are we on target? We appear to have more than enough money sufficient for our major HOA association. But you know, you want to make sure you have that money there, and you don't come up short somewhere along the line, and we go, yikes, we need an assessment, the evil word. So that's the last element of the budget that we're working on right now, and the board will see those two budgets and see the reflection they have on our financial standing. The last thing I'd like to mention is we did have 13 proposals this month to come before us. We approved, recommended to the board 11 for approval. One was withdrawn by the tech board at this time. They're reconsidering that because they had a better offer than the proposal. And one was not recommended, and we're waiting for guidance from the board since it had to do with spending for clubs. Again, we saw what happened last month when money came in for clubs. We're looking at this. We don't have a line item for that expense. I'm sure we can find the money, but it sets a precedent when you have 70 clubs here if everybody wants to have $200 for this, $500 for that. So we need your guidance on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Next is our landscape committee, Lynette.
Good afternoon. One item that's not up on the screen here, but following Barry's explanation of upcoming budgets, we are lucky to have on our committee Nanette Scott. She's retired purchasing agent, and she's going to bring some economic knowledge and work with Excel. It's going to give us some more avenues to perhaps better bargain on some of the landscape items that come across our desk. So we're grateful to have Nanette with us. So tomorrow, the wind and the rough terrain is our second fuel mod walk, and only those who feel like they want to be a billy goat tomorrow needs to join us. And we're waiting for approval from the many proposals we sent to the board on items of cost that finance did approve. We definitely want that $750 for the outside arborist so that we can continue researching the way we're going to approach the tree thinning project. And we have one member that has resigned. She's served beautifully for a couple of years, and her family is needing her. And we do have two prospects. We'll see if they show up for the Billy Goat Run tomorrow. But they are otherwise very good walkers and contributors on our meetings. And our next meeting is next Tuesday at 1 o'clock in the RCN. Thank you.
You want us to approve for the committee? Did you say earlier?
The arborist, $750. I don't hear very well.
Mrs. Scott, she wants to approve her for the committee.
She's already on the next item. She was commenting that Nanette is doing purchases for helping us with
This
financial.
is actually moved forward.
Thank you for that. Next is safety committee. Next is social committee. Loretta.
Good afternoon. Well, I think you all know that Pam Morales has stepped down, or is going to be stepping down November 1st. So basically, we're still waiting on for Loretta Ramsey to be recommended by the social committee and for the board to give the okay on that. Our magic show is on October 26th, and I hope you got all of your tickets. The New Year's Eve party, actually we're going to be having the New Year's Eve ticket sales. It's going to be November 4th. So of course, you know, you all want to get up real early in the morning, get in that line. Also, we're basically looking for, you know, some of the residents to come and visit our meeting on November 5th. And we could always use the help. Thank you.
Thank you, Loretta. Next is the Tech Operations Board. Next is the Community Enforcement Act. So next is Activity Director, Cindy.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Melanie.
Oh, a blast from the past. Okay. Yeah, who is that masked man? All right, here we go. So, I don't know how to do this anymore. It's hard when you have to, have the far lenses and the close lenses.
Cindy, we know about AD.
I don't. I'm just learning. Do you buy that?
Cut this age thing down.
Yeah, okay. Let me just fake it. So the the Fall Harvest Craft Boutique is going to be on Saturday, October 19th from 9 to 2 p.m. Everybody knows how great that thing is. Make sure we'll be packed. Make sure to come in. I'd say early so you get all the best deals. And if you want to start getting your unique crafted items for the holidays, boy, is this a great opportunity to do it. Then, this is a whole new gig. We are having a Halloween costume concert on Wednesday, October 30th at 6:30 p.m. And it's going to be featuring Sharon and the Chevelles, kind of a 50s band, and they're going to be all dressed up. So I dare you guys to be human props and dress up for it too. We are going to have it in a different place, and we need your input about that. We're actually going to be taking a survey afterward to find out, how do you like this new unused venue, which is going to be right out on the loggia. Of course, there'll be no wind. And it's going to be a warm evening, clear stars, and we'll have little lights all out. It's going to be great. So come on out, bring your lawn chairs, very similar to how we do for the amphitheater. And we'll line up because Willis is artfully and tastefully measuring every row perfectly on the cement so that we will know where to put the lawn chairs. If you would like to be an usher for that event, we are looking for ushers. We probably need, how many, Colin? Like 5 or 6. Yeah, 5 or 6 ushers. So if you want to be a part of this amazingly new event, can you let me know and I'll put you up. It's really not going to take much except keeping people to the lines, right?
Bring a chair.
Yeah, bring a chair, just like the amphitheater. And snacks, by the way, too. So you don't want to miss that. Check on the daily report when that comes out, and we have a poster out there. And it's not on Halloween proper, the 31st, it's on the 30th. So check that out, 6:30. Then, club group and classes, we have Step It Up Line Dancing is going to be holding a barn burner dance. And that's tomorrow. And if you've ever been there, you know that Dave Rohrbacher does a great job putting on the music and getting everybody in their dance boots. And it's free. So come on in. You have no reason to be bored. Tomorrow night at 5 p.m. And you can bring dinners and all of that in too. Karaoke is going to be meeting in the Lodge Ballroom at 5 p.m. this month on Saturday, October 12th. So make sure you come down and enjoy the free fun on that one as well. And it's always fun to hear your neighbors doing different things with their voices, right? Bring wine because they sound even better. And then you have, let's see, if you have a pet that you dearly love, there's a special Blessing of the Animals event this Saturday, October 12th at 4 p.m. near the front of the admin building. And all animals are welcome. What a sweet, precious little gesture. So if you have an animal that you would like to get blessed, go do it. What a cool little opportunity. And the AACC is inviting the community out to honor the life of resident Greg Lee. If anybody remembers Greg, which we all do, if you know them, if you knew him, totally great guy. Love Greg. If you knew him, please come out. AACC is encouraging the community for the family. It'll be a precious memorial. That's this Sunday, October 13th at 4 p.m. right here in the Lodge Ballroom. And then we're having a Four Seasons car show on Saturday, November 9th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And they're actually including motorcycles, and do we have some vintage motorcycles? Motorcycles and 4x4s. So if you haven't made yourself aware of the incredibly cool cars that some of these residents have here, come on out and drool all over them. They're gorgeous, and we need your input because we're doing a People's Choice Award for the different cars and for the motorcycles and 4x4s. So we need your input on that, and it's going to be fun. Oh, and if anybody knows, what's his name? Tracy Crow. If anybody knows Tracy Crow, he's doing the DJing, and everybody knows that Tracy is a great DJ, and that music is going to be popping in the parking lot with the cool cars. So I dare you to go see that. And that is November 9th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Oh, and by the way, if you happen to be one of those bitchin' guys with a cool car, and you would like it to be in the show, there are applications out on the flyer rack, and they just need to be turned in by the 18th. So turn it in. There is a $15 application fee, and that is because you get a very, very cool shirt that you get to wear next to your car. Everyone will be envious of you. Okay, and then the travel group, finally. The travel group is going to be holding a special travel trivia event in the Lodge Ballroom on Wednesday, October 23rd, that's next Wednesday, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So there you go. So much to do this month.
Wow.
I need a nap.
Holiday.
In theory, it's Columbus Day, but nothing is
Federal
closed.
holiday.
No mail.
Yeah, it's a federal holiday. So just for everybody's information.
Okay, but clubs and groups will continue as listed. Okay. Yeah.
Did you say the meeting started at 4 o'clock?
Yeah, that's what I have.
1, 2, 4.
All right, well, we'll check on that. Thank you for mentioning that. It may be 1 o'clock. Check the poster on the way out. 1 to 4. From Wrigley's Reed Pass Memorial. Thanks.
Thanks, Cindy. Next is management report, starting on pages 45 through 91 is the updates and activity log. I want to point out that last month we were tracking 67 work orders. And then next on pages 92 through 119 are correspondence. As mainly information, there was a question on page 114 if the board would like to allow a resident to hold a nonpartisan voter registration drives in the lodge lobby. Could be a nonpartisan.
That's for residents only?
Yes. Would the board like to make a motion to allow that, at least on a temporary basis? There's no proposal, it's just it was an email from a homeowner, again on page 114.
Okay.
Who's going to sponsor that?
I believe Sharon Geiser is the one that wants to sponsor that. But again, it would be a nonpartisan, just a voter registration. We have a lot of new homeowners that are moving in that might not have changed it before now.
Since it's nonpartisan and residents only, I don't have any objection to it.
I don't either. You gonna make a motion?
That sounds like
I'll make a motion to allow the voter registration as outlined on September 24th, 2019. Nonpartisan and residents only.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the request, Sharon Geiser, for registration in the lobby. Voter registration in the lobby. Any discussion?
Yeah, is there any cost to the association on this?
There's no cost, and it would be something that Cindy and I will work with her because the first date has already passed. So it'd be something in the future.
Will there be appropriate notification to everybody that this is available to come and sign up rather than maybe just a few things going out to a few people?
we can include it in the billing statement in the future so that everybody knows when it's happening. We'll work with Sharon to set it a couple dates up in the future.
So September 15th.
Yes, this one's already passed, so but we'll work, we're just looking for the approval to do a voter registration drive with her, and then we can work with her for dates that work for her, and then we can post in the.
And what's the new date?
I don't have a new date yet.
It's just a motion to approve the ability for her to do it.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next on pages 120, we're down to new business 120 through 122, is a request from the Landscape Committee for pine tree trimming on Trail C in the amount of $6,225. And this has been recommended by the Finance Committee as well. 83 trees will be trimmed at $75 per tree.
I'd like to move that we approve the expenditure of $62.25 for pine tree trimming as proposed by the Landscape Committee.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to approve the trimming of little pine trees on Trail C. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next on pages 123 through 125 is a request from the Landscape Committee to do planting in the Trail D basin slope. Total cost will be $1,250.
I'd like to propose that we approve the expenditure of $1,250 for new plants in Trail Basin D as proposed by the Landscape Committee.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the, care of the Trail B basin slope on Park West. Any discussion?
I would point out that the plan for the plants has been changed several times, so this is well massaged.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next on pages 126 through 128 is a request from the Landscape Committee for plantings on the courts grounds on the southwest slope. The cost for this project would be $1,680.
I propose that we approve the appropriation of $1,680 for landscaping in the back of the courts area, as proposed by the Landscape Committee.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the changing of plans of the court's southwest slope. Any discussion?
It wasn't, I thought the slopes were supposed to be planted by cable. Why were these slopes planted by cable?
They were, but the planting and the mulch didn't hold, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it says to replace dead and missing plant material.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next on pages 129 through 131 is a request from the Landscape Committee for some trimming of the trail areas and corners at Four Seasons Circle and Green Creek Trail. The cost for this is $1,528.50.
I'd like to propose that we approve the appropriation for artistic maintenance of $1528.50 for the trimming of trees at Four Seasons Circle and Green Creek Trail as proposed by the Landscape Committee.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the proposal for landscape maintenance on Four Seasons Circle and Green Creek Trail. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next from Landscape Committee is a Phase E various street corner plantings. Total cost is $756 spread over 6 different corners. No, 5. Sorry.
I'd like to propose that we approve the appropriation of $756 for tree trimming or tree planting as proposed by the Landscape Committee.
I'll second.
It's It's been moved and seconded to approve the proposed installation of various plant material along Four Seasons, Circle, Point Porch, Fork Run, Williamson Park. Any discussion?
Yeah, are these plants or trees?
Plants.
Plants, because the motion was for trees.
Okay, I'll amend the motion for plants.
Thank you.
Second again.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, on pages 135 through 137 is a proposal from the Landscape Committee for various tree trimming in phases B and C by Artistic, and this would be $6,810.
I'd like to propose that the board approve the appropriation of $6810 for various tree trimmings by artistic management as proposed by the Landscape Committee.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve various tree trimming by artistic maintenance as indicated. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next on pages 138 through 140 is a tree trimming proposal from the Landscape Committee for sumac trees on White Sands. This would be in the front yard cost center, out of their cost center, at a cost of $2,015.
I'd like to propose that the board approve the expenditure of $2,015 for sumac tree trimming on White Sands by artistic management as proposed by the Landscape Committee.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the trimming of sumac trees on White Sands. Any discussion? Interesting slide. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Let's see, next is a proposal from the Landscape Committee to hire an arborist, an outside arborist, one who's not a current vendor for the association, to go through and identify trees that are or could be an issue, whether they're planted too close together or ones that could possibly be causing damage to homeowner property. The cost for this service is $750.
I'll make a motion to hire the arborist as suggested by the Landscape Committee.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to, I guess it's a contract with, we're not really hiring him, are we?
Yeah,
Contract.
he's a contract inspector.
Yeah. An arborist for the association to look at our trees. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Next, we're on the Facilities Committee. Their first proposal, as Bruce had said, is the bird spikes at the courts so that birds don't keep leaving gifts on the tennis courts. Cost for this is $3,050.
I move that we provide the facilities for the spikes on the pickleball, on the tennis courts.
I'll second.
For a cost of $3,050.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded to place bird spikes on the tennis courts for a cost of $3,050. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next from Facilities, on pages 153 through 198, is a proposal to upgrade and also purchase new cameras. The total cost for this project is $54,513.20. Of that, $40,700.62 is reserves, and $13,812.58 would be a capital expenditure at the Breckenridge game. But the other cameras are covered from our reserve account.
I move that we contract Empire Tech to provide cameras and servers, service the gates and all the, I think there's a total of 27 cameras altogether for a cost of $54,513.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded to upgrade our camera system. Cost of $54,513.20. Discussion.
Yes. Just as a point of letting everyone know what's going on, typically we try to go for the low bidder. Here's a situation where we did not go with the low bidder. We went with the high bidder, and the reason we went with the high bidder, we had three altogether. One of them was an analog system, which is not appropriate for what we want. It's past technology. The other one was a digital contractor, digital cameras. But the problem with them is they had some software issues that we felt were not robust enough to take care of us. So Empire Tech provided all the facilities. They were somewhat higher, and all of the software capabilities that I think will do us a good job right now and give us something to add on to and provide us any additional upgrades in the future. So just to let everyone know that this was not the usual low bidder.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next on pages 199 through 201 is a request from the Activities Director to purchase pickleballs for the pickleball club at an amount of $480 for the year.
For the association.
It's for the association.
Well, that would be yes. If they were purchased, they would be purchased for the association. So currently the association does purchase tennis balls, ping pong balls, billiard balls, cards, and things of that nature that clubs use, but they become part of the association property. So if I can't say if somebody else wanted to go down and play pickleball and use these pickleball balls, they would be able to. So if the association does purchase this, it would not be exclusively used by the pickleball club or group. They would be used by them and anybody else that wanted to use them.
Why would we not have a budget for all of the athletic equipment that we consume and buy?
That is a great question.
And that's actually a geocode that the Finance Committee is looking at creating for the 2020 budget. Right now, we just have a geocode 7700 for equipment and supplies, and it encompasses any equipment and supplies. So if we purchase trash bag liners, that's equipment and supplies. If we purchase a basketball, that's equipment and supplies. But the Finance Committee is looking at creating, and that's something that the board will see when they review the budget for the next year, a separate line item for activity equipment and supplies. So we'd be able to track better any kind of supply that we purchase for an HOA activity, such as this.
Okay, but we still have 2.5 months to go. Why not just approve a proposal to buy additional equipment that's necessary and not restrict it to one type of ball?
Great.
I mean, will we have one for tennis balls next month and then golf balls? It doesn't seem to make sense to just have a proposal for one type of activity.
I think we have an ongoing thing, tennis balls. I think we've already approved $500 a year for tennis balls. $200 a year for tennis balls.
Correct. And we do that I believe at the beginning of the year we do the tennis balls.
Whenever they need them, but it's an annual disbursement, one time a year.
We could look at creating a policy where every year the association purchases X amount of balls for the different activities.
I don't know, it just seems that we're limiting the activities director's flexibility by saying this type of ball or that type of ball, and we don't know what the utility, the useful life of the balls are, how many people are playing and everything. We're kind of, this to me looks like something that we should just, here's the budget, manage it. Instead of we board have to manage how many balls you buy.
Who would control that? Would you, Cindy, control that? If we had a big bucket,
Yeah.
let's assume the tennis ball people want 10,000 tennis balls and now they suck up all the budget. You make sure that doesn't happen, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And actually, just like what Len is saying, we don't even need to have really a specific ball amount for tennis. They just put in for it because of the big community ball machine, right? So they just put in for it to get approval to be able to have balls to do it. But typically, with every other club and event, when we need a basketball, we just buy one, right? Because it goes out to the whole community. Or any other equipment replacement, we do. But tennis wanted to be sure that they were approved to have a particular allotment, because $200 is kind of a lot of money for an annual thing, but they use them and the whole community uses it. So yeah, I think that's great.
That applies across the board, so
yeah.
If the ping pong people want balls, if the card players want cards, if the golfer, whatever, so whatever they want, they all have the ability to come in, or?
Yeah, so here's what the last rule has been. The last, based on the club group and class guidelines previously, right? The rule was that if a club group or class wanted to have approval for the purchase of any kind of equipment or sundry item, it had to be association property. It could not be club group or class exclusive items, okay? So that's why you get ping pong, and they typically buy their own paddles, the members, and the association buys a few paddles for residents to come in who aren't members of the club to just play, loners, right? And that's what those balls are for. If they have club exclusive balls, then they take them out of dues, or they each put in and buy them. But anything that the association has purchased previously has been specifically for association property for all the residents to use. So we don't buy their snacks, we don't buy their exclusive paperwork, or whatever. If it's for the whole association, it's been considered for approval. So that's how it's been. And unfortunately now, we have a confusing word that is in our current guidelines that just got approved. And that is that on 5G of the last guidelines, it said clubs, groups, and classes must provide their own exclusive use equipment and items. And now that's been changed to may provide. Okay, so that could be clarified, because that way Finance Committee is clear about what qualifies as a proposal for approval, and that way you guys are clear about the fact that this isn't 86 different clubs, groups, and classes vying for independent funding. It's a proposal for the community use only. So that's kind of how that is. And that goes with events too, by the way. That's how it has been previously. If it's community-wide, then it was, had an opportunity for proposal for funding. If it's exclusively for the club, group, or class, it did not. It had to be funded by its own, independently, right, with the own members.
You have a place to keep all this stuff?
Yes. Yes, and otherwise we don't. We won't have it then. We'll tell them they need to take it home.
So if we're going to do this, then what happens to this particular proposal? If we're going to have do we hold this? Do we vote on this now and then put something else together later and give it to finance?
I believe.
What do we want to do?
Did Barry have a question for the board?
I just have a question. Our intention is the decision you're going to make right now, and we would like to have its own code on the thing so we know what these expenses are. Because we're talking about,
I love that.
a couple $100 of the cards, a couple $100 of it adds up, that will be into a couple $1,000, and we want to be able to have an accurate profile of that. So we're there, and we need to know the direction of if it's what Cindy just said. It makes sense if it's for everybody's use, but a disposable item. We were wrestling with the idea of you go to play racquetball, you bring your own balls. You don't expect somebody to pay for that. I go to the golf course, I bring my own golf balls. They don't hand them to me. So we just needed clarity on how the board wants to handle it, and we'll put it into the budget on its own line item. And we do have
So do you want a line item for sports equipment?
Sports equipment, and we do have some variance in the budget this year that we can put some money there because the money we saved on water expenses this year, we would have some budget money to be able to cover this.
Okay, so we have two or three more months in this budget?
Yeah, two.
Two. How much do you think you would need to cover the next 2 months with just balls and things like that for everybody?
Well, if we keep it on the same financial situation that we've been doing, which is basically, go ahead and purchase what we need for the particular situation in the next 2 months under equipment and supplies, right? Then we can assess whether in January we can assess. I mean, we may not need pickleballs for 5 years at $480, which is what they wanted, okay? And they have holders that get secured onto the court so that people can come up. They now have 125 members, and it's becoming a very large group of people wanting to try it out and see if they really want to belong to pickleball or play it. So that's why they're proposing that, is they've got holders to be secured to the courts, and then the balls, so that when residents are just trying it out, they would have balls. Yeah, so there you go. So in other words, sorry, John, to answer your question.
4 dozen.
How much money would we need, do you think, for 2 months? I'm just thinking nothing more.
I mean, this is the only request
This
we
is
had,
it.
and I know you had ongoing
For 2 months, yeah.
orders for cards.
This would be, I think we could cut this down to $200 worth of balls and maybe another
I totally think that.
$300 worth of other
That's what they
supplies
want.
for the rest of the year, cards or any other thing, so $500 for the rest of the year.
Oh,
All right, I'll make a motion to put $300 for pickleballs for the association.
you want to make it strictly for pickleballs or?
I thought it was gonna be for the remainder of the year for
Well,
cards
no,
and
that was-
whatever.
That was my other, I just asked that, and they said, don't do it that way. This is the only proposal they have for the next 2 months, so.
Can't we amend it?
Why wouldn't it be 1/6 of 480?
Why don't you just authorize that you're going to pay for sports equipment
Through the end of
the use of the facility here,
Yeah.
and appropriately it'll be ordered by Cynthia.
That's why I asked, how much should my proposal be for?
I don't think you need, I just think we need to have clarity.
To be
It's okay-
determined.
It's okay to spend money
Amount to
on
be
this, I
determined.
have the money, the budget has
Yeah.
the money.
So if you're gonna approve just a number that includes some pickleballs and other sports equipment, $600 would be more than enough for the rest of the year.
Okay.
Is it okay? All right, I'll make a motion to approve $600 for all groups, clubs, classes, for equipment.
I'll second.
It's been moved, seconded to approve a budget of $600 to buy sports equipment for the athletic clubs, sports clubs. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next is on pages 202 through 210 is a request to replace the refrigerated pizza prep table that's in use or needs to be used by the bistro. Cost is not to exceed $7,500, and this is a reserve expense. This is something that when the health department came in, it's broken. It's not able to be fixed on a fiscally responsible manner. So something that they require that the association then have in there as part of the conditions of the bistro.
You know,
It's called a pizza prep table. It's not necessarily for pizza prep. It's a cold storage container unit.
Is that salads and?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we approve $7,500 for the refrigerated pizza prep table.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve budget request for a refrigerated pizza prep table. Any discussion?
This has been asked for by Copper Kettle.
It's something that the health department requires us to replace.
So it's not their request, it's mandatory.
It was conditioned by the health department that it was there when the bistro was open. It's one of the pieces of equipment that was there when the previous operator was in there. It was there when they inspected it, and it's just something that needs to be replaced.
Is this a reserve?
This reserve?
It's reserved, 100% reserved.
We already own the one we have now is not functional, it can't be repaired.
Okay.
And it was original to the kitchen.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Thank you. Next, on page 211 is a request from the activities director for the ability to have 2 free charity programs to run in the lodge from the Rotary Club and the Chips for Kids. There's no cost to the association, it's just a request for permission.
It's basically what we do every year.
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve the request by the activity director for the holiday charity programs, as we have done in the past.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the request by the Rotary Club for their Winter Wish drive. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next on page 212 is a request from the activities director, again, for a fun-free concert in November. This will be held on November 23rd from 6 to 8:30 p.m. At no cost to the association.
I make a motion we approve the fun-free concert in November as supported by the activities director.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the fun-free concert in November. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next on pages 213 through 215 is a request to nominate Dorothy LeClaire as our 3rd inspector of election. This way we can then open up the CCNR ballot votes. We had 4, 1 person resigned, 1 person is out for medical reasons, so currently we only have 2. California law requires that you can only have 1 inspector or 3. And I thought it'd be kind of fair to have 1 person open up 1,500 ballots.
I'll make a motion to add Dorothy LeClaire to the election inspector.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Dorothy LeClaire as an inspector for elections. Any discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next is on pages 216 through 234 are the August financials. These have been reviewed by the Finance Committee and the 2 board members, but for the new civil code, we have it on the agenda for the board to also approve as a whole. The Finance Committee and the CFO and Ed also recommend approving this. These, I should say.
I recommend the board approve the August month-end statements as approved by the Finance Committee.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the August finance report. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And that would normally conclude new business. However, with the accident that happened on Green Creek Trail and Four Seasons Circle, the safety committee is asking that the board, on an emergency basis, add something to the agenda. Civil code allows that. It says on section 4930, section D, part 1, upon a determination by a majority of the board present at the meeting that an emergency situation exists. An emergency situation exists if there are circumstances that could not have been reasonably foreseen by the board that require immediate attention and action by the board, and that of necessity make it impractical to provide notice. So it would be the board to, one, make a motion that this needs to be added to the agenda, and then the board can then discuss the stop sign proposal from the safety committee.
I move we add it to the agenda.
I'll second.
Second, we have the agenda, the request for, from the safety committee to consider MPG paving to add thermoplastic stops on Stellar Creek westbound and eastbound, 2 stops on Four Seasons Circle northbound and southbound to their existing contract. Any discussion?
We're voting.
This was to add to the agenda.
This is
And then
just
we'll
to
have
add to
another-
the agenda.
Agenda, rather.
Yes.
No question?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
So the proposal is to, as Lynn was saying, to have a stop sign at Everest Peak and Stellar Peak, to install stop signs there. And then the second part would be to add stop signs at Green Creek Trail where it meets Four Seasons Circle. Total cost is $3,465.40.
I'll make the motion to add the stop signs at
I'll second. Oh, I'm sorry.
Green Creek Trail and Four Seasons Circle and Everest Peak and Stellar Peak.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the safety committee request for the addition of stop signs as discussed. Discussion?
Yeah, I just like to make one comment. I think, I always say that the most powerful committee we have in this association is the safety committee. When they come to us with a proposal saying we need this, we really don't have much of a choice but to approve it. Because if we don't approve it and something happens there, we just put the association in an extreme liability. So,
And I appreciate, as the liaison to the safety committee, I feel very strongly on these stop signs. And unfortunately, we've had a injury accident. That one stop sign had originally been on our agenda, was pulled off, and I'm gratified to see it's back on. And I thank the remainder of the board members for supporting the safety committee.
Yeah. I would point out that because of the urgency of getting this work done, this proposal has not gone through the regular process, which includes going through the finance committee. And so I'd ask Barry now if he has any comments about that.
No, we discussed 2 meetings ago about requests for stop signs, and we feel it's an essential element, and I got the word before the meeting about this, and I know the committee will not have any problem with it, and I know we have the funding for it.
Thank you.
Karen, let me just have one more comment. The value of today's stop signs is actually being looked at for next year's budget. Safety had come through with a proposal for additional street markings, additional signage, additional stop signage, more yield signs. So they were pre-planning this. I think just the need has been moved forward.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. That concludes new business. In unfinished business, the board wanted to discuss the enforcement policy or enforcement of the current club and group guest policy. So I pulled some numbers. There have been questions as far as how many people are guests at the gate. Currently, there are 15,000 registered guests in the gate system. In August, there were 9,383 guest entries, which is an average of 303 per day. And this is just the handout that I handed out before. In September, there were 8,708 guest entries, which averages 290 a day. There's currently no restriction on how many guests you can have listed at the gate system. In looking at it, some have 2, some have 15. It's majority of, it's either family members or friends of theirs that are coming over. In the past, we have not had any kind of restriction on that, mainly because if people aren't able to add their guests electronically and have them in there, it reduces the workload from the person that's at the guardhouse who's still calling to confirm people that haven't been added. So it's just
Okay. Is anyone who is not a resident considered a guest?
Yes.
So if they're a vendor, they're a guest?
For this number, yes.
Yeah, so there's no way of knowing, like in my case, I have my brother who comes here once a year listed as a guest.
Yes, the software has the ability.
whereas if I have a vendor that comes once a week. So really the number of guests doesn't mean anything.
In certain,
The entries is what matters, not the total number of guests.
yes, and the system has the ability to differentiate. You can go on and register and say, hey, my ABC Carpet Cleaning is my vendor, and they're a permanent vendor, and they come every Monday and Friday. And so the system can tell, but it's based on, it's user driven. So if you log on and you say, ABC Carpet Cleaning is my guest, it's going to register it as a guest. If you go in and say ABC Carpet Cleaning is my vendor, that will register as a vendor. Conversely, you could go in and say Joe is my vendor and he's really my son because you clicked the wrong button.
The rest of that though, so that's fine, that's who comes through the gate.
Yes.
How about how people get in here and what happens to people that come to get into the lodge?
So when people come into the lodge, we normally have a staff person at that front desk. However, that's not been a mandatory item from the community and the board to have somebody staff there from the time it opens until the time the lodge closes. So there's many times, especially in the morning and in the evenings, where the staff member's out doing setups or making copies for an event. When we have staff there, we stop people if they don't fob in. We ask them to either sign in. If we can tell that they have guests, we ask them to sign their guests in. A lot of times, most of the clubs and groups that have guests, they're pretty on the spot as far as having somebody meet their outside guest at that front desk and only have 2 people that can go with the 1 resident. And we're watching to make sure that they're signing in. You know, I'm going to the dance club with Patty, and my guest is Barbara and Sue.
So you enforce this very carefully, you make sure that all of this takes place, and you try to ensure that someone is at the desk just about all the time, because that should be pretty high priority.
We do. We do. Am I going to say that we're 100%? No. We don't require people to show ID. So if you come in and you look like you live here, you sign in, we're not stopping them and looking them up in the system and comparing a photo ID to that person. That's something that we've looked at. It would be about $8,000 to buy a new kind of card and printer, and that way you have an ID badge that shows, you know, I'm Joe, here's my picture, and I use that to fob in. But that'd be an $8,000 expense to the association, and then the cycling people through to have a picture taken and print that card out for them.
Providing the cards would be an $8,000 expenditure.
Yes.
If we just had people come in and take pictures so that it's always, their picture is always in the file, what is that going to cost?
We're going through that right now, where when people register and when we have done the different age verification, we're scanning their picture into our customer service database. So we have started that process. It's maybe 20%, 50% in. I'm not sure. That system is a little bit slower than Dwelling Live per se. If you type in somebody in Dwelling Live, you can get a response as far as that address in 2 seconds. If I type in an address in the other system, it can take 10 seconds, 15 seconds to pull everything up, because it's a much larger database and it's pulling a lot more information in. So if that was the directive, whoever's coming in would have to wait there for 15, 20 seconds for that to pull up and see their picture.
Okay.
When someone signs in, do you capture that information electronically, or is it just a paper?
It's just a paper. We scan it in later so that we don't have 50,000 pieces of paper.
If we have a guest who comes in 365 days a year, we can't quickly pull up that information.
No, not at this time.
But what does it take to get a registry that is on an electronic database?
Of a guest that comes in, or of the homeowner?
The guest.
We would have to create something that would be able to see who it was and then when they last came in a quick manner. It's definitely possible.
Everything's possible.
Well, yeah.
What does it cost?
Well,
I think
I'd say there's,
what the concern is, the perception is that some people are semi-permanent residents here, that they have guest entry and they come here every day. And it would seem to me that we have certain capabilities that would allow us to identify that. Whether or not it's a problem, I'm not sure. But knowing who's here, a quick retrieval system seems like it's doable. I just don't know what it would cost.
Wouldn't you be able to do it through the gate though? If they gotta come through the gate and their name's on the list, wouldn't that automatically show up that this person has come in 50, 60 times a month or whatever?
yeah, there's a report that I could run. Also, if I just go to that, if I think I have an issue at here at the lodge for my own guest, because we add vendors and guests to that system as well, and it will show by their name how many times that they've come in and been logged. So Tad comes in, he's been here 200 times. You know, a vice president from the company's been here twice. So you can see quickly, and then you can open that up and look and see how, you know, what days that they've come in. As far as, but I want to clarify, are we talking about just guests in general? So you come down here and you have your family in town for a couple weeks or friends over and you're trying out the new bistro every day for a month? Or are we talking about guests that are coming in for a club or group activity? Because that's two separate guest issues.
And then coming through the gate, Eric, would it be just the driver who is ID'd, or would it be everybody in the car?
It's just the driver.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Not easy to do. is what
Not
it
easy,
tells us.
not easy.
It would be time consuming as far as to create that process. It would be, there'd be an expense as far as making sure that the desk is manned from morning till night so that nobody slips by and skews the numbers. I think the last time I looked at that, when we were looking at this a couple of months ago, was roughly $130,000 per year for staffing just for that desk. But that doesn't include the $10,000 for the card system, doesn't include any kind of other software or upgrades or anything of that nature.
Okay, so it's good knowing where we are right now and what it would take to move forward. So this is good information.
Yeah, thank you. That was very helpful.
Any other questions? Okay, any further business?
None.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded, we adjourn.